What's up guys, Luke Parsons here with Corporate Fitness Works, and welcome to week 1 of our Back to Basics campaign where we're going over the deadlift. So what's a deadlift? It's any movement where an object starts on the ground and you pick it up and stand up with it. It seems really simple, but there's a lot of things that can potentially go wrong and can be really bad for your body. But when it's done correctly, it's one of the best movements you can do because it strengthens your entire posterior chain, which are all the muscles across your back, as well as your quads, which are the muscles on the front of your leg. What we're going to go over today is everything that goes into doing a deadlift correctly, as well as addressing several common mistakes and how to correct those. Form focus point number 1 is going to be having the bar over mid-foot when you line up to it. All right, so the reason for that is if it's too far back, it's not going to allow you to bring your hips down into proper position, which is going to push your shoulders out of position. I'll explain more why that's a problem later. Also, if it's too far away, it's going to put a lot of extra strain on your back and just make the lift more difficult than it needs to be. Think about the difference in difficulty between picking up something that's far away from you versus picking up something that is right below you. So again, as you line up to the bar, make sure it's over the middle of your foot so that way your hips have room to come down, your shins can come forward, and you can be in proper position to grab the bar. Form focus point number 2. For this one, it's all about keeping your spine in line. So you're gonna want a straight line from your tailbone all the way to the back of your head. A very common mistake is where people will go to deadlift and they'll arch their head up. So again, they'll get in that deadlift position, they'll go to pull the bar up, and to try and get extra tension into it, they'll yank that head up. And that puts a lot of unnecessary tension on the spine, as well as the muscles around the neck, and that actually takes away from your deadlift because the muscles there are out of position. So what you're going to want to do is, once again, keeping a straight line from the tailbone all the way to the back of your head. So as you do this, it's going to be right here, straight line, coming up, and then keeping that the entire time. So again, just straight line. All right, a good way to help this problem, if you notice that you're one of those people who's kind of arching that head up, is get something just long and straight and practice going through the deadlift motion with this across your back. So again, keeping it on your tailbone and your head so you can feel what it's like to keep that spine in line throughout the entire motion. All right, I know it looks and feels a little bit goofy, but it's really good at helping you keep that spine in proper alignment during the movement. Form focus point number 3, keeping the shoulder directly above the bar. So when you line up and then all the way through the movement, you're gonna want a straight line from your shoulder straight down to the bar. All right, so as you line up here, again, you're gonna get lined up and you want a straight line right here. And it should stay that way through the entire movement. So as you come up, shoulders still directly over the bar, keeping that way all the way through the movement. Now, something that will vary is your hip angle, but that depends on the length of your legs, length of your torso, length of your arms. One way to make sure that your hips are in the right position is your shoulders will be in the right position directly over the bar. A very typical mistake you see here is being too far out in front of the bar. So there's another number of things that can cause this problem, but if I'm too far out in front of the bar, my back is gonna be working a lot harder to pick it up, as opposed to if my shoulders are back, I can use leg drive a lot better to pick the bar up. Form focus point number 4. For this one, it's all about keeping the body in sync. So when you deadlift, you want your hips and your chest to rise at the exact same time. All right, so what that looks like is, again, you're getting down in position. As you come up, the chest and the hips are rising at the same time. A very common mistake is where the hips will pop up first, and then you try and deadlift the bar up. And again, that puts your shoulders out of position, which makes the lift a lot harder, and it's a lot harder in your back. What that typically indicates is that your posterior is not strong enough for your quads, which is a very common imbalance that people have. So if you find yourself doing that, just lower the weight and then do it correctly. And again, make sure that that whole body is rising at the same time. Because long term, it's gonna make the deadlift a lot stronger for you, and it's gonna keep your back a lot healthier. Form focus point number 5. This one is squeeze, don't yank. So a very common mistake people have when they go to deadlift is they think they need to pull the bar off the ground as fast as they can. So what that ends up looking like is they come down and then they try and yank it up really fast. And that's bad for several reasons. Number one, you actually lose force production when you do that. So it can push you out of position, and also when you just get all of the pressure of the bar all at once, you actually lose a lot of strength when you do that. And number two is it's really bad for your joints. So when you're doing that and you're yanking really hard, it puts a lot of undue stress on your elbows and on your shoulders, and can lead to nasty injuries over time. What you want to do is squeeze the weight off the floor. All right? So what that looks like is where I'm going to get down into position, make sure everything's nice and tight, and then I'm going to gradually put pressure into the bar. So I'm going to get down here, I'm in good position, and then I'm squeezing the weight off the floor. You don't want to do it too slow, but it definitely wants to be a gradual pulling it off the floor, all right? So again, in a position, nice and tight, and then I'm gradually putting force into the bar. Form focus point number 6, do what works for you. So focus points 1 through 5 are the key components of what goes into doing a correct and safe deadlift. But there's a lot of little variables that go into deadlifting that are entirely up to personal preference. Even at an elite level, there's a wide range of how these variables are used. And these include how wide your hands are, how wide your feet are, your knee angle, your foot angle. And those all come down to your body type. So how long your arms are, how wide your torso is, how wide your hips are, how long your legs are. So again, feel free to experiment and figure out what works best for you. So even though deadlifting is typically seen done on a barbell, all the different focus points we talked about today apply to deadlifting with any different piece of equipment. So super quick, I'm going to demonstrate deadlifting for you guys on a couple different implements. All right guys, so once again, with the dumbbells, same idea. I want to get them directly over midfoot, straight line in my spine, shoulders over the dumbbells, keeping that same position the entire time. All right, so with the band, it's going to be a little bit different because it's under the middle of my foot. But again, keeping that straight line in the spine, keeping the shoulders directly over the hands. All right, and last one with the medicine ball. So again, make sure that where I'm lifting is directly in the middle of my feet. Get my hands right there, shoulders directly over the hands, spine in a straight line, deadlifting right here. All right guys, I hope this helps. Let your fitness mentor know if you have any questions, and have fun deadlifting.